Hey, and welcome to Cornerstone Conversations. My name is Trevor. In our last episode, you saw we went to be continued because honestly, when we sat down to record this today, man, the conversation was just flowing. And what you're about to hear from Pastor Josh's heart is the continuation of this conversation, right? And he gets super vulnerable, processes a lot of stuff kind of out loud, right? And I think it's really something that all of us can take. It messed me up. You're going to hear me even talk about it at the end. It messed me up, revealed some things in my heart that I'm having to deal with the Lord 1000%. So without further ado, let's get back into the conversation from last episode with Pastor Josh. I'm going to Luke 9 because I want to look at the excuses.
By the way, you're so good at referencing scripture, like chapter, like, oh, that's 2 Corinthians 3, or
right.
That's
Thank
Luke. You're really good at that.
You know why? Because when I first got saved, the preachers would just say the verses. It would drive me nuts because I didn't know where it was at.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's encouraging me to step my game up there. So thank you.
You were telling a story.
So a long time ago, we had, man, this is a key decision-making moment. It was big in the life of our church, and nobody would have.
Can you say it or no?
No. I'm going to tell the story. So a long time ago, we had this.
A long time ago.
Did he sing already on this episode?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah. We're probably going to break these into two, but in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. So we had this. Yeah, we should. But anyway, because I feel like could easily keep going and go into our topic we had already talked about for the next episode. So, we had this team. Nobody at the church, including myself, was getting paid at all. I mean, it was all just volunteer run. We were very small at the time, the whole thing. And we had this team of people that could sing and could play, and we had a band.
Oh, I know.
I know where I'm going.
This is going. Yep. Dylan, could you imagine, when you hear it, you're going to be like, I could not imagine this. Go ahead.
We had these great people volunteering to lead worship for us every single Sunday, and it was great, except that there wasn't really like a leader. It was sort of this like committee of people thing, which is a really bad idea if you can avoid it. I would say anything with more than one head is a monster. You know what I mean? And so we had all these people. Okay, and there were two in particular that were this man and this woman, bro, they would lock horns. They would go head to head over and over and over. And I did everything I could do to pastor these people through this friction and this difficulty, even to the point I brought them into my office one time. By the way, every time I would make an attempt, it would like fix it for a minute and we were back in trouble.
Yeah. Typical church life right there.
So I brought them into my office one day and we had a meeting, and I sat them both down and I was like, all right. And I'm going to use some fictitious names right here. Let me use Trevor and Felicia. Okay. They were not married, these people. These were just people in our church. But I said,
we couldn't go with something better than, go ahead.
All right, Johnny and Sally.
Thank you.
I was just trying to throw props to you and your bride, man. And so,
but they're not married. They hate each other.
Shout out to Felicia. That was a terrible way to connect you guys. Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll go Johnny and Sally.
Thank you.
So we sit down and I said, Johnny, I want you to know some things about Sally. She's a single mom. She's working X amount of hours. She's a single mom of 2. And I just began to lay out the difficulties of her life. And then I said, and Sally, I want you to know some things about Johnny. He's running a business. He's pretty stressed out. The economy's tough right now. And I just start listing all these challenges about his life. And I was like, so I want you guys to pray for each other out loud right now. Johnny, you're the man. You'll go first. Just like that. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Wow.
And they prayed for each other out loud. And I'm telling you right now, they both were like, I've never done anything like that before.
You know what it reminds me of? And Dylan, you have how many brothers and sisters do you have? You have a huge family.
6.
Okay. Sound a little bit more excited. Can we just
6, including you?
No, a fully 6, including me.
Okay, including
huge
so
family.
I have 4 brothers and a sister.
Have you ever had to do the thing where, this is what it reminds me of, where you have to, like, you said something like, you're an idiot. And they're like, say 3 good things about them.
No, my dad used to do this thing called love communion, to where if we would start fighting, we would have to hug each other this close to each other's face. And we had to look at each other until he said to stop.
No
And we would
way.
try to like look away, and they'd be like, look at each other. And we'd be like, okay, until y'all love each other, you're going to learn.
That's
the
awesome.
worst.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
even
worst.
better than
Yeah,
I remember. Like, you had to say
genius.
3 things. I was like, there isn't 3 good things in them. Love
That's
community.
so
Oh
good.
my gosh. I have to.
Shout out, Dad.
Yeah. Shout out, Ray.
Dad.
Shout out to you.
For sure.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, so it was like that. If they did it, and that repaired things the longest, but it didn't last. And so I got up. There was a particular week I woke up at 5 a.m. every morning. I sat in my little living room in my double wide trailer out in the woods, and I just said, God, I need you to speak to me. I don't know what to do. I began to pray. And there was this morning where the Lord spoke to me pretty clearly. You know, there are a handful of times where I feel like I heard the voice of the Lord within me. And he said, I want you to suspend live praise and worship for no less than 4 weeks. Ooh. And I'm going to reveal the heart of your team to you. And I'm like, this is not cool. Because we had this stupid event that we were going to do in a week. Oh. Y'all were coming to it. Oh, if Lord. You recall, and I won't go into a lot of detail there, but we were inviting like outsiders of our church to come to this.
I remember that 100%
event thing.
You'd have to remind me.
Yeah, off air.
Yeah.
And so
I think I'm tracking.
And I'm like, God, this sounds crazy. How am I supposed to do this event and not have worship? How am I supposed to do church? Right. And not have worship, but I knew what I heard. So that coming week, and I'm probably making this story too long. That coming week, I told the team, I said, "Hey, I'll see you guys at rehearsal on Thursday night." And so I'm sitting on the platform when they're all coming in. Hey guys, welcome, good to have you, blah blah. And I just tell them like, "Hey, I've been praying about this. Nobody in our church knows there's friction on this team but us. We know it. We're all seeing it, dealing with it. You know, it's not okay." And I said, and so I've been praying about what to do, and the Lord has spoken pretty clearly. And he told me that I'm to suspend live praise and worship for no less than 4 weeks. Now I stopped there because I'm going to reveal the heart of your team to you. That was for me.
Right.
And so I just said,
yeah, you didn't want to drop that one on him.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, he's about to reveal all your hearts.
Yeah. So I just said, you know, that he's said that we're going to suspend live praise and worship for no less than 4 weeks. So there's no reason for you guys to practice tonight. I've got Sunday morning taken care of, so y'all can just go be with your families. One dude walked out. I've never seen him since.
Wow. I don't know why I'm shocked though, but I kind of am.
Doesn't shock me at all.
Right.
One girl who quite honestly couldn't really sing that great transitioned into our kids ministry and served in our kids ministry for like 3 years, and she was awesome.
Wow.
And her heart was good.
Right.
Another guy stuck around for a little while and went on, but people either were gone or they just planted in different areas of serve. And then you kind of knew like who's really with you. And then we went more than a year I was playing YouTube videos on Sunday mornings.
Could you imagine? Look at Dylan's speechless.
Let me give you a really good strategy on how not to grow your church. YouTube video worship. But you know what? I mean, now when I hear, you know, I'll hear people like Jeremy on our team. He's on our staff. He's our worship director. And I'll hear him be like, man, it's just tough. Sometimes we have all these people. It's just tough to really get them in healthy rotation. I just sit back and I'm like, I remember when.
Yeah.
Thank God for the people that we're trying to get rotated into our worship team.
When you had nobody. Yeah, that's a great point.
Boy. But you know what? That was purpose over preference.
Yeah.
My preference would not have been that at all. Now, when I sit here and we have multiple teams that rotate onto the platform to lead us in worship.
You know, I got about 14 people up there Sunday.
It's a lot. It's a blessing.
Y'all, the guitars are hitting each other. Y'all are so close up there.
Yeah, our stage isn't big either.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the amount of people y'all have up there.
Yeah, I thank God for it.
Yeah, and that's awesome, man.
Anyway, I made that story too long.
No, it's purpose over preference.
It was very much purpose over preference, and it still lives and breathes in the life of every single church and every single person all the time.
Yeah.
And if you let your purpose win, you'll probably miss something God's trying to do.
You mean you let your preference win?
That's what I meant.
I was like, wait a minute.
If you let your preference win, you'll probably miss what God's trying to do. Yeah.
What we're going to do is clip this. Let's go to the thing about the spiritual authority.
Okay.
Is that, I feel like I see that could tie in.
For sure.
of what you would want compared to submitting to somebody else. Do you want to define spiritual authority for people if they've never heard that before in their life, of what that would even sound like or look like?
Spiritual authority is a thing that I think gets overlooked in church, conversation, preaching, probably a little too much.
I'd probably even say discipleship.
Yes, because, and especially, and look, I can only speak from my lens as a guy leading a church in America. Our society has become so individualized. It is crazy. And it is, I think social media pushes and promotes individualism. And, you see things like transfer portals in college sports and, all that stuff where it's just like, it's kind of just about us and me. Yep. And getting into the idea of a bigger, being a part of something bigger, mm-hmm. And buying into, I could also soapbox on the transfer portal thing. Like when people are like, where are you an alum from? It's like, well, which one do you want me to pick? I have 8 of them. That's just a weird thing to me, but whatever.
It is very odd. Yes.
But there's also this reality where I think people push back on submitting themselves under spiritual authority. And I think that that's very dangerous for the believer.
Let's go a little bit granular there. What does that look like?
So when God decided, I am going to set Israel free mm-hmm. from Egyptian captivity, he called Moses. Mm-hmm. And then Moses complained long enough to also get Aaron. Okay. No problem.
He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. Yeah. The guy's like, fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Moses led these people as he followed the Lord. Mm-hmm. Joshua stepped up to lead these people into the promised land. Yep. When God decided it's time to bring the kingdom to earth, Jesus was born in a manger. Paul said things like, follow me as I follow Christ. Mm-hmm. Imitate me as I... It's like, what a thing to say. Paul was writing letters to churches, corrective letters. Mm-hmm. Like, what are y'all doing? Like the letter to the Galatians is pretty... Like, who has bewitched you?
Right, yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
He would send letters about, like, be generous, set the standard for how you're going to give to this church in need. Like,
or you said you were going to give, follow through.
Yeah. He think like to a young Timothy, preach the word. Like, he would call himself spiritual father. He had spiritual sons. Mm-hmm. And he seemed to understand this idea of authority. And I just believe with all of my heart that if God is going to lead you and me, he's going to lead you and me by people. And you and I, and when I say you and I mean you and Trevor and Dylan and every person watching and listening, God is going to lead us through people. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a disconnect somewhere. And honestly, I don't know. Maybe God's going to be asking me to do something more with this. I don't know how this is going to like live out in the life of our church. I have no idea. But it's fresh inside of me now is this idea of spiritual authority and then choosing to get under some spiritual authority.
So would it be just for, again, someone that's never heard of this? Because this was a lot of language back 70s, 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying? And then that kind of died off. And again, we're talking American church.
Yep.
More than, I can't speak for anywhere else, but it kind of died off. And yes, because of course it was misused, abused, or whatever, right? So, but that's everything. You can't, what's the old saying? You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater either. So is every other part of Christianity has been misused and abused. So you can't throw that out with it. But is it kind of like a mentor essentially that you have like a more of a spiritual mentor? Is it the wisdom that Proverbs talks about like in many counselors? But like, how would you define that?
So I would say this, that if God has called you to be a part of, all right, let me do it like this. I'll get real granular. If God has called you to be a part of Champion Church, he has called you to be under the headship of Pastor Trevor.
Okay.
Now, Jesus is the
head of the
shepherd.
Church. Right. And the head of the Big C Church.
That's right. He is the head and we are the body.
Right.
But just like there was a Galatian church, there was an Ephesian church, Philippian church, there's Champion Church and Church on the Rock and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And so anybody, in my opinion, that's going to be a part of Champion Church should see you as their spiritual head and covering. And same at Church on the Rock, which sounds like a pretty doggone audacious thing to say.
Yeah, it makes my heart beat faster.
What it does for me, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
and what it does
yeah.
for me is make me go, what a responsibility.
Yeah,
right
100%.
now, some people, are going to be like, man, and they're going to power trip because they're idiots and they're not in God's will. That's true. That lives and breathes. And we've seen it in the church. I mean, you're laughing. I'm being as honest as I can
Buddy,
be.
my just favorite is you hit us with some AMSR and they're like, this is great. I'm going to misuse this.
There's no doubt. And by the way, this is why so many people tragically have experienced real, genuine
100%.
church hurt, as the term is called, church hurt. And that's a thing.
Yep.
I'm
Without a
not
doubt.
going to diminish the reality of that because somebody misused the place that God gave them.
Right.
And so I have so many things in my head. I feel like this is like,
I can tell this is fresh. Even for you,
It's
Texas,
fresh.
we have had zero conversations about this.
Yeah, so it's not all like fully processed, but I'm going to tell some vulnerable stories today that I think will reinforce this because I think, so let's sit at the point of a leader, a pastor. So I like how Pastor Joby Martin says this, that he refers to himself. And by the way, we've always structured things at Church on the Rock this way, even before having heard this, but he's the under shepherd. Jesus is the chief shepherd. He's the under shepherd. So in our context, we do not have a senior pastor. That is Jesus in our context. I'm a lead pastor. Pastor Tom is our founding pastor. Jesus is the head.
Yeah.
Right. So my job is, I'm not the Holy Spirit. I don't know all things. I am a teacher of the Bible, and I am supposed to care for the sheep. And so in our roles, Trevor and Josh specifically, it isn't top down that I'm at the top and everybody's underneath us. It's exactly the opposite. That I'm actually the greatest servant.
Right.
For these people. Like the shepherd should lay down his life for the sheep.
Yep.
So there's going to be things God will require of us. He will require of nobody else. And so for us, let's just say that I believe with all my heart that we have integrity, that we're trying to lead our churches well. We're trying to hear from God. We are trying to, as we talked about moments ago, put purpose over our preferences, to walk in greater levels of obedience and sacrifice. The same question that our church is asking, I'm asking.
Yeah,
the same
100%,
prayer that they are, I am praying. If I am not asking if I'm trusting God to lead me forward in his will, or am I trusting my own? If I'm not asking that, the whole thing is going to derail. It's a bad idea. But the truth of the matter is that there are times that some people remove themselves from being under a spiritual covering, and God is all about headship and covering. I had an email come to me this week, and this guy who I'm just now getting to know, who I've always respected, but I'm just now really getting to know. He's within our church. He's just a cool dude, man. He's just a cool dude. And I'm not selling him out, and I'm not going to say anything about his email, except that in there, he just said, hey, I didn't know really who to kind of talk to. I just thought, who better than my pastor?
Right.
This guy's older than me. This is a man's man who's done life well, and he sees me as his pastor. What a responsibility. Like, I feel that, where it's like, man, you know, like, I want to take care of him. I don't want to abuse him, right? But one of the problems I think in the modern church is that some people, they are going to church for themselves. Does this serve me? Do I like the music? Do I like the style? Do I like this? And they're just consumeristic in their whole approach, rather than saying, where does God want me to be?
Right.
Who does God want me to follow?
Yeah.
What does God want me to do? And it's purpose over preference. So I feel like I'm rambling a little bit.
No. It all connects 100%.
Yeah. And again, I think that, and it's all like I'm an external processor, and I feel like I'm kind of doing it in real time.
Yeah.
But this year, there have been some interesting things, man, that God has shown me. Do you want me to kind of get into that? Do you have thoughts right now?
No, go for it. I'm writing down some stuff. Go for it.
Okay. So Dylan, I feel exposed right now. It's making me a little nervous. I'm a model following type of a guy.
Okay.
What I mean by that is let me see somebody that I think is doing it well, doing it the way I would like to do it. I'm the type of guy that's like, how do you do it? How do you think? How do you process? I'm good at following models. Even back in the day when I used to build decks, like porches and stuff like that. This is how I used to fund my hunting. Thank God that he set me free of that necessity. But this is how I used to pay for my hunting habit. I grew up doing masonry work and tractor work. I didn't grow up doing woodwork, so it was a little bit new, but also have some welding and fabricating in my background. And so I'm all right, so to build decks, I just started going around looking at decks. Right. I'd crawl underneath them things. Like, oh yeah, I see how they put this thing together.
I can do that.
Exactly. And I would follow the model. I'd take pictures and like, oh man, I like how they did those stairs. I wouldn't have known how to actually construct it, but I got it. I followed the model until the point that like I could just do it, you know? Same in ministry, same in every facet of my life, man. I'm very intentional with who my mentors are, who my heroes are, my peers, my apprentices. I just, walk with the wise, become wise. That's what I want to be. Okay. With all that, heroes, and it's embarrassing how we can fanboy people, isn't it? And it's like, oh my God, for you, can I say it? John Mark Comer, you 100%. Joke about how much you've drawn from him and all that, but he is feeding and growing you into a better leader, better pastor, probably better, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Dylan, I'd imagine you got people like that in your life that you just like, man, I want to like model things after them, whoever that might be. And so for me, I have some of those. And so I'm not going to name drop here because it's dumb, but I have had the privilege to be face to face with a couple of like kind of church known dudes, and not like Josh, come on into my green room, but more like I was at the conference and I got to ask them a question, in a lobby or something. Right. And so, a few of them, I would ask the question like, what do you got? Like, I'm essentially saying like, will you disciple me? Yeah. Yeah. And the answers that I'm ultimately getting is like, yeah, come to the conference, we got the podcast. I write all these books. Cool. Good. Like I'm doing that. I was looking for a little more. Right. Like, selfishly, I'm like, do you see anything in me? Do you think I got potential? Yeah,
100%.
Does God say anything right now? No.
You feel anything in your spirit? For love all that is holy.
Exactly. So that kind of thing. Yeah. And so, I'll try, and I'm pretty good at taking a book, a podcast, sermons. I'm pretty good at learning how to implement what I see as good qualities into my life or the life of our church. All right, fast forward into the last couple of years, God's kind of opened a little bit of a door for me to get in association to another one of these type of guys, and really more access there than I've really ever had with anybody prior. And I have a very strong desire to know this guy, We're close by association and proximity and things. And so I have a pretty strong desire, like I just want to know this dude, And so he had given me opportunities to be a part of a couple things. All right, I have to tell two stories here a little bit side by side to make this work, but he had kind of opened the door to allow me to be a part of a couple things that honestly I should have never been a part of. It was his kindness that even put me in some of these like rooms and atmospheres and stuff like that. And so I was so grateful. And so me being me, like I am like, hey, I don't want to be that guy. But I am not afraid to ask, like, what else you got? Right, yeah. Just let me, like, I kind of love being the dumbest guy in the room because then I have the most to gain. Right, yeah. So I'm like, just let me, if I can just, you don't have to do anything for me. You don't have to say anything to me. Let me just sit, I'll stand against the wall and I'll just take notes, and I can probably learn. So I had posed at the end of last year the question, what do you got? Right, yeah. What can we do, And I was kind of waiting on this hopeful answer. All right. So, I'm also a part of this network with all these pastors who has a pastor. And the way the thing is structured is that, that this pastor, who, by the way, knows everybody in the the church known, so he just knows them, what I mean? Like he could text John Maxwell type of thing, right, yeah. If you got that, you know them all. And so, in the structure of this network that I've been a part of for multiple years, something changed heading into this is 25, right? Yeah. Okay.
All year.
All year
is
long.
25, yeah.
something changed heading into 2025 where this pastor was overseeing the entirety of the network, which is all these like groups of pastors within it, to now he felt like God called him to step in to lead a group, and he stepped in to lead ours. And he said to us, hey, this is what I feel like God's called me to do. I chose this circle on purpose. I feel like God's calling me to you guys, and I want to pour into your life. I want to be a pastor and a shepherd into you. Would you allow that? Let me know. And he gave us some time to pray about it. Now, look, a ton of the dudes this was on a Zoom call, and a ton of these dudes are just slam dunking it. Like, I'm in. No reason. Let me pray. Yep. That thing. and for good reason.
Right. Yeah.
For good reason. I'm not poking at, those are my buddies, man. I'm not poking fun at anybody. But for them, it was a no-brainer thing. For me, I'm like, yeah, but I kind of want to know what this other guy's going to say.
Right.
And that feels a little selfish. And so this was January of this year. And so I don't even remember. He was, I'll throw out some arbitrary somethings. He's like, hey, just let me know by like January 17th or something. I text him and I'm like, so we were in 21 days of prayer and fasting as a church. And I text him and I said, Pastor, I almost said his name. And I'm trying not to do the names.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, hey, Pastor, would you be willing to give me until, and I said to the end of our 21 days of prayer and fasting, I'm really seeking the Lord on some things. Would you be willing to extend me to that time? Which is pretty stinking audacious to begin with.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, I'm really glad that you're just taking that serious for sure. Pray, hear from God and let me know. I'm like, yes, sir. And I just said to the Lord in that season, I'm like, God, you know what I want. I really feel like more connected. I'm more alike over here. And so I was like, if I hear something back, because I had sort of posed the question over here, like, do you got anything for me? Meanwhile, I've got this invitation over here.
Right.
And so I'm like, God, if I hear something by the end of these 21 days over here, I'm going to take it.
Right. Yeah.
And if not, maybe you're telling me that you got something for me over here. And so 21 days comes and goes, and I've heard nothing over here. And I'm like, okay. And I also had said inside myself, like, I'm not asking again. Because then I would probably be that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Like, geez, oh my word,
Somebody block this guy.
Yeah. And so, I'm sure you've had those people that just keep.
No, nobody wants to be around me.
He's so.
Nobody wants.
So
literally, no.
He's so. So I'm like, okay, Lord. And so I make a decision, because here's what my mind starts doing. I'm asking to be pastored and shepherded. Now, by the way, I have pastors in my life. I do. Right. Okay. But I'm asking to be pastored and shepherded by guys that are just leading at levels I've never seen before, because I want to grow to whatever it is God wants me to grow to. I'm talking about as a person. I don't have numeric goals. I'm not trying to be superficial. I'm just like, I just want to be the best I can be, and I feel like these guys could help me improve. So in my head, I start thinking, like, I've asked him. There's nothing. This dude's asking me.
Right.
It feels a little foolish to say no to him when I've heard nothing from them. That's dumb. Logic. Plus, I had a timeline. I said, God, if I'm going to let you speak by letting me see how the cards fall. And so I just made a fundamental decision at the start of this year that I'm going to put myself under his pastoral authority. And I let him know, like, I'm in. Trevor, something changed because I'd been a part of the network. I'd been under his teaching
for years.
I'd listened to him preach, talk to him. I got photos with him, the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
He knows my name and he knows my wife's name. It isn't like I recognize him, but I don't know who that is.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man. Remember that? What was that? Liar, Liar, that movie?
Never seen it. I'm a Christian.
Come on. He says that every time. That movie is great.
Yes, I've seen it. Of course I've seen it.
I say that movie is great. I have no idea. I probably saw it on TV and I'm not sure I can recommend it. I
hate this guy.
So all that time that I had been in the network and around him, I had never put myself under his authority and let him actually shepherd me. At the end of 21 days of prayer and fasting in our church, I made a decision. Okay, God, I think I've heard from you. Therefore, I am going to put myself under his authority. Now, this year, because we're on Zoom calls every month together, and we meet in person a few times, I'm talking about as a group and as a network. And this year, he just had us start reading books. All right, hey, as a group, we're going to read this book together. He's like, okay. And I'm an audio guy, and I love to consume content. And I'm telling you right now, none of these books I had decided on my own to read. None of them. I just feel like I'm hogging the mic.
No, you're good, buddy.
So very much.
Yeah, you're good.
But one book, I think we've read 4 so far together as a group. One of these books was this book called Fathered by God. And I guess it was somewhere, it feels like it was like around March that we're reading this book. And I'm telling you right now, yeah, John Eldredge is the author. And I'm telling you right now that I just wouldn't have chose to read this book, but I did. And it started to do something in my heart that honestly I was confused by. See, I'm not sure how vulnerable to be here, but I started to question, do I have like forgiveness issues with my dad that I thought were dealt with? And like I'm feeling emotions that I don't even know how to process. I'm like, what is going on? I thought we were good. And so I start checking my heart, like, God, what is going on? And then, full circle, it's like, good. Me and my dad were good. There was forgiveness. There wasn't anything that I had clung to or was lingering or anything like that. But God began to show me something that like, I don't know how to be a son of God. I know how to be a really good servant.
Right.
But I don't know how to be a son. Like the idea of being a beloved son of God, I'm like, how? Because I know how I see me, and it is far differently than a lot of other people do.
I'm with you on that. For myself, 100%.
Dude.
100%.
It'd probably disappoint some people if they knew how I see me.
Same way.
I have arrived nowhere.
Right.
I am not sure why God chose to use me at all. I mean, so I after pastoring a church all these years, following Christ all these years, I am here we sit at the time of this recording. It's September of the same year. I'm being taught how to be fathered by God. And here's what the book essentially is going to say, that God will use other people to father you through his heart. He is our father, and he will use other people to father you. So long story short, in my own self, I'm like, man, he is, if I believe with all my heart, if I don't submit under some authority, I don't receive this from the Lord. Now, by the way, is it an accident that I make this decision? My pastor asks me to read this book in the same year my dad dies. I doubt it.
Right.
But I think God is sovereign, and I think God said, if you'll trust me here, I have something for you. Because had I opted the other route, I wouldn't have read that book.
Right.
And it wouldn't have done what it is doing in me. We are far from finished. This is a new work of God in me that I am so enjoying, by the way. And I've got a good friend and a couple mentors that are like helping me to better understand all of these realities in my own heart. It's very healing for me. And I have no doubt that the more I understand how to actually be a son to the Father, how this is going to impact our church as a whole, I can't wait, because he's revealing new things to me. Okay, fast forward, because I am talking a ton in this one. Fast forward. He has us read this other book. Okay, I'll read it, right? And I don't mean it like I'm rolling my eyes, just like, okay.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
God put you in my life, and I have said that I'm going to let you lead me. You say read the book, I read the book. It's just simple submission.
Right.
Doesn't matter if I like it. That's what you said. I got your back. Let's go. So I read the book. The whole time reading that book, we were in a hiring process. God is absolutely using that book to affirm and deny who we're not hiring and who we are. 100%. And I'm thinking to myself, like the timing of while I'm reading this book, we are in this process. Is this coincidental? I don't think so.
Right.
I think that God is blessing me for getting under
100%.
authority. And while I'm choosing to sit under his authority and his pastoral covering in my life, like he asked me to do, and I just humbly said yes to, I get a call from this other person. Well, I get an email from this other person's people, to be specific. Hey, we'd love to invite you into a 2-year pastor's cohort.
That's cool.
Starting in 2026, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, is that accidental?
Right.
The answer's no.
Right. Exactly. And it goes back to preference over, or purpose over preference.
100%.
It all goes back to that, because if you would have just said, wait, who knows if that would have happened or not.
Right.
But all this stuff, I started picking up where you're going with like your dad and stuff. Like, my goodness, for God to be setting this in motion. Your dad passes, but you've dealt with these things, made sure it was right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The hiring, it goes back to, if you wanted your preference, you could have easily missed
Man, I'm telling you
what
right
God was
now.
doing in your heart.
For sure.
And that's for anybody. It's for you watching wherever.
Yeah.
Man, this is his world, yes, in the pastor world, but this is anything. And I thought about this too. I wrote this down because I know we're about out of time on this one. I say a lot, and this is my own fault. I say a lot, who can you run with in a church? Because I'm agree with you. The local church is the hope of the world because of Jesus, right? And it takes people 100%. And a lot of times, you said it earlier about we can be so consumer driven. What is the worship like? What is the music like? What is the kids ministry like? Which all is important. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all important. And it's like, I'm always like, well, find the vision you can run with.
That's the better question.
Right. So, but it's because me being vulnerable, and I know but I handled a situation of spiritual authority when I was 20 really bad. It was great until it wasn't. And I admit my own faults in that, like 100%. That relationship still isn't there. And I wish it was. It was the greatest pastor I've ever had in my entire life. I wish it was. But for me, now it grew this thing of like, well, just find the vision to run with. But even when you text me that today, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna shut up. No, that's what I told myself when you texted. I was like, I was like, I'm not gonna talk much in this because I don't want to throw shade of my own hurts that I still have 16 years later from the moment. And I wrote it down. And maybe it's not the vision you run with, but who can I sit under?
Yes. What a
who
great
can I
question.
disciple under? If Jesus, the ultimate shepherd, I love that. The under shepherd is the pastor you sit under. Like, even say you're watching this in Kentucky, right? This is great. I watch podcasts from all over, but you still need to have somebody you're discipling under,
That's right.
submitting to, that you're going to go have chicken tender. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, and give them that place of authority in your life. I read these books this year. You know why? My pastor asked me to.
Right.
I've pre-decided that I'm going to say yes to his leadership. So if your pastor's like, man, we need you on the team, you should say yes.
Right.
But that's not the only place of authority. And I'm going to recommend, this is a probably dangerous thing. I'm going to recommend a book that I've never read.
That is dangerous, but
it's way old, but it's from a guy that I trust, who I feel like I've seen grow a lot in his ministry. He even says how he is different today than he even was at the time he wrote this book that I'm about to say. John Bevere.
Okay, yeah.
John Bevere wrote this, and I know what the book is trying to achieve and say. I actually did back in the day, the early Church on the Rock days, when I was just an attender. I actually did a little study at the church on this book. It's called Undercover. And he talks about being under the coverings that God gives us. He goes into great detail of what that looks like, even when the headship that is above us isn't godly.
Wow.
The Bible says a lot about that.
Right.
God does it all on purpose. And this book talks about how we can stay under the covering of God. And when we do, we stay under his protection. We stay under his favor. Like, we can do more things under the appropriate coverings if we will just do it God's way. That takes a ton of humility. God is all about headship. He talks about this in the home. Right. This is not like, authority and
dominating.
being told,
Right. Yeah,
that
it's
is
not that.
not the heart of our God, but the heart of our God is to be humbly submissive to the authorities that he has placed in us. And I just think there's a lot of areas in our lives we can make decisions
100%.
and say, I choose to get under some authority. And for me this year, 2025, it has brought me breakthrough and freedom that I don't think I see if I don't make that decision. And I'm telling you, I could have easily smoke screened anybody and said, I'm well covered. I'm covered. But then the truth was, I felt like I knew what I was trying, what I was aspiring for.
Right.
And I was looking at paths, and God was like, what are you going to do? Yeah. And so I had to make a decision that was humble. All right, I'm going to do it. And God has blessed me for it. And so let me give you a quick example too of somebody in our church. There's this dude in our church. He's stinking awesome. Love this guy so much, man. The more I've gotten to know him, the more I like him. He's just a dude, man. And he's almost impossible not to like. Y'all would love him. and he's getting his master's in divinity right now. He's aspiring to grow in what is a call of God on his life. He texted me a few months ago. I don't even remember the text, but I remember thinking like, man, that's awesome. Okay. He sends me this text, and it's a text. He's got a question. Hey man, I got a question, and it's about this and that. And how do you feel about it? And what are your thoughts? I want to hear from you as my pastor. And so I was like, all right, this is like a way deep into the pool conversation. But let me just high point it, give you a couple thoughts. I don't even remember what I said, except that I would steer clear of that. I wouldn't, whatever it was, for me, I wouldn't personally go there. If you want to talk about this in more depth because of the kind of conversation this is, then let me know. We'll set up a call, or maybe we can meet up or something. And I'll be happy to talk with you about it. Here's his response text to me. Heard all I need to hear. Moving on. And here's what that said to me. I trust you as my pastor. Yeah. If this isn't good for you, it's not good for me. I'm moving on from it. I can't tell you how easy it is to lead him.
Right.
Because he trusts me, but he's trusting God through me. So if I become an idiot, I hope God reveals that to him. Right. But the point is that he's just like, he has made a decision. He called me pastor. Nobody's forced to do that. Right. That's your decision. Nobody has to see me as pastor. But if you choose to, I felt like he exemplified no problem. You're my pastor. Right. So if it's not good for you, it's not good for me either. Moving on. I ain't wasting time, and I don't need to waste yours talking about it. Let's go. Right. And I was just like, what a great example of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. And it goes into the community side. It goes into all of that. I mean, every bit of it ties into. It's a hard one. It's a hard one for me. It is hard for me, and I know we are way out of time here. It is hard for me to chew on that. Yeah. Because even this conversation has really pulled back some stuff. I am not looking forward to the 25-minute drive home. I'm going to tell you, but you're right. That's the issue. Because I wish I could poke holes in it and be like, no. It's like, no, you're absolutely right. This is the godly way. And honestly, and just being vulnerable on this, it's shown some wounds I still have from 16 years ago.
Interesting.
100%. For sure. So I don't know if that encourages anybody that I'm screwed up, but Josh has got it going on.
Oh, yeah. That's what this was all about. Yeah, no.
Anything else you want to say to wrap it up?
Man, I could just keep, I think I alluded to this maybe in the last show, but just, this is why I text Pastor Tom Outley, our founding pastor and my pastor. I text him and recently to say, hey, I kind of made a mistake. You saw it, and I want to tell you I'm sorry. I've repented before the Lord, but I think I should repent before you because you're my pastor. Wow. Those honor and authority, man, I think God blesses it, and he honors it. One more thing I'll say real fast is our new youth and young adults director, Aston Hunt. I love this guy, man. I mean, I just love it so much. And he came to us from another church. And not only, I could tell two great stories, but not only did he come to us from another church, but he came to us as a recommendation from the leadership of the church, then was covered by the pastor of the church in a sending prayer from them to us. Wow. God blesses and God honors those.
That rarely happens in church world.
Can I know we're over time. Can I give you one more story that I think speaks to this?
Yeah.
All right, last one. My friend Joe, who was on our staff at Church on the Rock, who stepped off our staff but then stayed in our church. And he's a part of our church family, and he's still a dude of mine, friend. I love him. And he approaches me, and I don't even know how long ago, but he approached months ago. He approaches me, could have been a year ago. I don't know. It was sometime between this morning and when I was born in 1983. Okay. But he approaches me and he says, hey, I feel like God might be leading me into this particular direction. I'm not really sure, but I wanted to talk to you about it. Now he's coming to me as his pastor. And then I said, I think you should go visit this other local church because they're really equipped to do that. We're not. Maybe you should go check that out. Okay, so he does. And then he circles back to me like, I think this is where God wants us to plant. I'm like, praise God. Then I get a call from leadership at the other church. Hey, just want to have a conversation with you. One of your former staff members is attending, starting to take steps to get onto teams. They're starting to like plug in. We just want to talk to you about that a little bit. I'm like, yep, I know he's there. I know his family's there. In fact, I sent him there. We had a conversation about him. They're like, man, that's great. Thank you so much for that. Boom. He's on their staff now.
Oh, wow.
So he went through an internship
I didn't know that.
process and is on their staff.
Good for Joe, man. That's awesome.
And here's the thing. I regularly participate. This is a different network. This is a regional network that I'm a part of that I regularly participate in meetings there that's mostly hosted at that local church. And guess who I see almost every time I go at the door or serving in some capacity? Joe. And guess what I get to do? Hug him, high five him, ask him how it's going, love on him because he's my friend. And here's the beautiful example of that. He saw me as his pastor. He asked me for direction. I gave it to him. Now he is underneath a different authority with a different blessing, taking him to a different future than I could have provided him. And one church handed him off to another church, just like one church handed Aston off to us with a blessing, with a covering. Both churches cared enough about him and Aston to communicate about this. And say, let's be kingdom minded and look what God can do in these things. Whoever's listening to this that refuses to get under authority, you need to humble yourself. It's just humility. The Bible says, humble yourself before the Lord and he will lift you up. You don't want life to humble you. You should do it.
This one messed me up. I ain't got nothing to say because this one jacked me up. This one did. You good?
I'm good. Do you want me to close us out?
Yeah, please do, because I'm
I cannot thank you guys enough for following the show. I know sometimes we can get a little long-winded, but we appreciate anybody that takes the time to just listen and hear. Thank you, Trevor, for being who you are and being awesome. Dylan, for being who you are.
I don't want to drive home.
And
because I know the Lord's about to deal with me in about 6 minutes.
I'll take him home.
Oh, Lord, damn it.
See,
the Lord's like, you say, I'll take you home. Is that what you said?
Hey, we love you guys, and we will see you next time.